Okay, can you guys hear me? Testing 1 2. I believe I should be back in the saddle. Can you guys hear me okay? Excellent. Folks, phew boy, what a week this has been. Um, I would say let's take a moment of silence just to catch our breath, but you've already had a few moments of silence, about 10 of them to be exact, as you waited for my technical difficulties to resolve themselves. But yeah, this has been an insane week, and now is not the time to rest, to sit back on our heels and do nothing. Now, in case you didn't know, now is the time we need to fight. And I don't just mean our elected officials, our politicians that you see in the congressional hearings and they're doing the confirmation things. I don't mean them. I don't mean just them. I don't mean just your favorite influencers that you see in social media. I mean, every last one of us needs to stand up and take notice that there is some shit going down in this country right now that if you blink, you're going to miss it. If you sit back and do nothing, you have no excuse to complain when shit has changed beyond our control. It is happening now. Donald Trump is remaking the entire government. He is firing people by the hundreds and by the thousands that don't need to be fired, that shouldn't be fired. He is allowing this stuff to happen under his nose because that's what his donors want him to do. They want to raid our government. They want to steal every last freaking penny, every piece of furniture that is not nailed down is what they want to do. And they're going to get away with it if we sit back and let them. He doesn't have a mandate. I keep hearing people on the news, the daytime piece of shit, useless, worthless news I hear during the day. Donald Trump's mandate. He doesn't have a mandate. He won by a percentage point. It wasn't a landslide, it was a squeaker. He just barely won against someone who only had 100 days to get her campaign in order. He just barely won. Right now, he is the most unpopular president in history. He's under 50% approval. This is his honeymoon stage right now. And we don't need to be sitting back and saying, oh, let's see what happens. Fuck that. We're not about to give him the benefit of the doubt. He doesn't deserve it. He has already shown us what his intentions are. Project 2025 is in full swing in case you hadn't noticed it. So we're going to get into that. We're going to get into the tragic, fatal air collision that happened just a few days ago. We're going to get into all these things and a little bit more. Boy, are you ready? Because I sure am. Let's go. Story time. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. I don't know if you could hear If you can even hear the intro music, because I couldn't hear it at all. So that is a damn shame. uh, were you guys able to hear that? I'm curious. I'm curious. Let me know in the comments here. I see lots of people saying, breathe, everyone breathe. Yeah, of course, you got to breathe because without breathe. So, yeah, you guys were able to hear. That's great. But good. Very well. Okay, so thank you for joining me for today's episode. Yes, this has been an insane week, and let me just say a quick hello to my friends here in the room. I see, let's see, Lucy L at the top. Lucy L is here at the top, ladies and gentlemen. Meryl Gelber is here. Claudia, Valerie G, Monique Lee, Mary Brown, MD is here. Tracy M, aka Nurse Mitch, in the house. Foxhill Dreams. H. Craig. Joanne Kennedy is here. Let's see. Joanne Kennedy says Musk has taken over OPM. I'm not sure what that is, but I'm gonna have to look into that now. CJ is here. CJ says they don't call him president, they call him convicted felon 47. That's a good one. Tina Bradford is here. Stella Baxter. Where's Zelda? Where's my friend Zelda? Now, Zelda was texting me like, "BDD, are you doing the show today?" And yeah, I was just a little bit behind because this has been an insane week. Everybody, Jen Staley says, "Hi everyone, happy Friday from is that Delray Beach, Floridian? Welcome to you, Jen." Let's see. Okay, so if I missed you, please forgive me. I'm sure I will be able to acknowledge you later on. I had a donation here from Sandra from Paramount, California. Thank you so kindly for that. And the other week, I had Allison Gill, aka Nurse, aka Mother She Wrote, with me on the show. And while she was here, Michelle gave the show a $50 donation. So I want to thank you. I didn't get a chance to thank you for that before. I want to do that now. Thank you so much for that. Let's see. Luis Ni Folu. I hope I got you right. I hope I got your name right there. So yeah, let's do a quick roundup of what I like to call stories of the day.
Stories of the day.
Okay, so I'm having some bizarre audio-visual issues here because I couldn't hear that intro thing at all. Yeah, so our main story of the day, Donald's DEI disaster. Hello, Shayna Farborg. I see you there. Thank you. And let's see what else we have here. So the confirmations continue this week with the worst of the worst, RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, and Kash Patel, all who seem poised to be confirmed. Maybe not Tulsi, but the others. Yep. And deportations, mass deportations have begun, deportation roundups, and they also included a brief spat with the president of Colombia. And of course, last but not least, a really horrible, terrible air collision happened. The first fatal air collision uh, in the nation in 16 years. And Donald Trump, for exactly 2 minutes, appeared presidential, and then he showed his true colors. Please, if this is your first time here watching the show, make sure you hit the subscribe button. It should be there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen right there. Also, please make sure you hit the like button. And let's see what else we got here. Okay, so those of you who have been here before, you know that I have a Substack in which I write articles that go in depth to some issues that maybe I don't cover in depth here on the show, or that I don't have the time or inclination to cover in depth on Twitter or Blue Sky. And this week was different because normally I only do one article per week. This week I just, the spirit the spirit caught me. The spirit was in me. I was kind of mad. I was pissed off uh this week. And the first Substack I wrote is here on the left there. It says the press taking dictation from a dictator. Holding our press accountable for giving us 4 more years of Trump. And that was basically me airing out some anger and some frustration with our press for once again not learning the lessons that they failed to learn in his first term. They're going the same route all over again. So yeah, we need to hold them accountable as well. It's sad we have to fight the Trump administration and the people who are supposed to be holding the line against bullshit. The people you depend upon, who, when someone from the Republican Party says it's raining gasoline out there, their job, the press's job, is not to report that somebody said it's raining gasoline. Their job is to stick their head out the window and see if it's actually raining gasoline. Come on. The article on the right, which I just posted today, this morning, it says the bullshit divider in chief. In a time America needed consoling, Trump gave racist dividing. Yeah. So both of those are available on my Substack. If you don't subscribe, please do. It's free. You can subscribe for free. Or if you choose to be one of those fantastical people that that appreciates and likes to support content creators, I would greatly appreciate you subscribing for monthly to help support my efforts. Thank you for that. And here's some other news, guys. Those of you who have known me been watching the show for, I don't know, since we started 4 years ago. It's been like 4 years. I have been looking at numbers. I've been looking at, attendance, streaming numbers, and they don't look good. They don't look good. I need more. I need a bigger audience. So one of the things I figured I can tweak is the name of this show. Now, if you like the name, I'm sorry. I like the name too. But Storytime with BDD doesn't seem to be clicking that algorithm button that I need to click. That's the name of the game. At the end of the day, that's what I have to do. I've been I've been stubbornly resistant to change on this show for like 4 years, and I'm like, wow, I really should have a larger audience. It's more than just, tell your friends, and have a million followers on Twitter. It's more than that, So you have to pay attention to what YouTube is asking you for. So one thing I can do is change the name of the show. So here are some options I would like you guys to consider. And I will be looking in the comments, right? So please, if you see a name here that you favor, that you think this is the way you should go, BDD, please write it down, because I'm after the show, I'm going to be looking through the comments and seeing which ones you prefer. So right there at the top, I have Brooklyn Dad Defiant, the weekly take. After that, I have BDD Live, Politics Unfiltered. I kind of, for some reason, I like that. It's shorter. The next one is The Defiant Hour, breaking down the week in politics. Don't like that one so much. Weekly Political Roundup with BDD. It's okay. And BDD's Political Pulse. I like that because I like alliteration. But my clear favorite is the BDD Live, Politics Unfiltered, because I do this show live. This is a live show. Other podcasts you guys watch, they're like pre-recorded. I'm not taking anything away from them, just to be clear. They have great production value and they're very polished and whatnot, but this is live. As you see, we have technical difficulties live. We have people ringing my doorbell live. Shit happens live. So yeah, so let me know what your preference is in the comments. I will be checking after the show. Thank you so much. This is our Woofy Rain and her son, her adopted son, Sunny. Sunny loves Rain. Sunny is the black cat holding onto Rain's hind leg. There. If you look closely, right above Rain's hind leg, you can see where the hair has been shaved away for her surgery. She just had surgery. Rain just had surgery to have 2 tumors removed, one on her belly and one on her butt. So the surgery was successful. Both of the tumors were removed. And Sunny loves her so much. And it's adorable because, it's a cat and a dog, and this cat adores her. So I included this just because every once in a while you need a timeline cleanse. Wait. Every once in a while you need a timeline cleanse. Timeline cleanse. Okay, enough of that. Let's move on. Super Bowl. I don't know if Sherry Scary is here with us in the audience. Sherry Scary, as some of you may know, is our friend, longtime friend of the show. She does live in Kansas City, Missouri, home of the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. She is a humongous fan of the Chiefs, and so I know she is thrilled to see that her Chiefs are once again, they're not just back in the Super Bowl, but they're back after back-to-back Super Bowl wins. So they have that unique opportunity to go for the three-peat. And I guess that puts a serious bullseye on the back of the Chiefs as far as Eagle fans and other fans who don't necessarily care for the dynasty thing. They don't like dynasties. But me personally, I'm not rooting against the Chiefs. I mean, they've already. I've watched this kid, Patrick Mahomes, do like amazing things in the Super Bowl. And yeah, he's got a good defense and everything, but this kid is able to stand up in those moments of like extreme pressure and deliver for his team. So until they get beaten, my money's on. I'm not betting, but if I were betting, my money would be on the Chiefs. But congratulations to both teams. I wish you both well. I have no dog in this fight, really. I don't. Honestly, I'm a Giants fan, so I can't bring myself to root for the Eagles. But if the Eagles are somehow able to pull off this is a rematch for the Eagles. So if they're able to pull off this rematch against their rivals, You know, I won't hate on them. I won't celebrate them, but I'm not gonna hate on them. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Claudia has brought to our attention. This show is live, folks. Claudia has just brought to our attention that the NTSB said the black box of the Black Hawk has been recovered. This is critical and very important information because so much has been made of the probable cause of that Black Hawk incident, and the so-called president, the convicted felon, has blamed this on Obama, on President Biden, and on DEI policies, which is weird because 94% is the number that we got from the FAA today. 94% of pilots are white. 94%. So that's interesting. If DEI is such a major issue, then why you got so many white pilots? Why are you worried about that 6%? Why are you worried about that? Okay. I was going to tweet, but I have a show to do, so I'm going to hold off with tweeting. This week we lost Jim Acosta. No, before you panic, Jim Acosta is alive and well. But for those of you who are still watching CNN, I will ask, why are you still watching CNN? For those of you who just appreciate the fact that a person like Jim Acosta, who doesn't take any bullshit and calls it as he sees it and is not afraid to stand up to a tyrant like Donald Trump, he has left CNN voluntarily. He left CNN because they wanted to put him on the midnight shift. They wanted him to work at midnight, which is essentially like that's asking to not be seen at all. Who's up watching a first run of a show at midnight? That's really a shitty thing to do, and it stinks. It feels like the Trump administration asked CNN to put Jim Acosta somewhere in the back, somewhere where very few people will see him. So I hate that. I think it's disgusting, and I'm happy that Jim Acosta removed himself from that shitty situation. I hope that MSNBC comes to their senses and gets rid of, in this order, Andrea Mitchell, Katie Tur, or what's that other woman on the afternoon? Chris something. I can't even remember her last name. She's Chris blah blah blah. One of those three, and replaces them with the excellent Jim Acosta. He has earned his own show on a good network. And yes, and Tina Bradford points out that he is on Substack. I've already subscribed to his Substack. I recommend you guys do too if you don't want to miss his stuff. And Zelda, my friend, bada bing, bada boom. There's my friend. There she is. Thank you so much, Zelda. I appreciate you. Thank you for the kindness and the generosity to the show. Greatly appreciate you. So what is it with Donald Trump and blonde women? That seems to be a thing, right? For him, it was McEnany. What was her? Kayleigh McEnany. Then there was Kellyanne Conway, and then there's Caroline Levitt. It's K's also. There's K's. That's 3 K's. Guys, this show is live. Let me remind you, it's live, and it just occurred to me live that he's had 3 press secretaries with the first initial K. So yeah. What's her name? Caroline Levitt is the new. Um, she's the new press secretary for the White House, and she is. I was gonna say that she is as horrible as her predecessors, but this one, she does feel kind of like she feels like an upgrade in the way that the T2 or sorry, the T1000 in the Terminator movies, that silver guy was an upgrade on he was an upgrade on the Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator. And so her lying is similar to JD Vance's, right? She will look right in the camera and she will lie without without a moment's hesitation, without looking uncomfortable. She will lean all into the lie. She believes it like a sociopath. And that's the same thing that uh about JD Vance. He's that that dude that dude worries me a bit. He worries me because if, let's say, Donald Trump does not last his full term for whatever reason, I'll leave it at that. For whatever reason, let's say he doesn't last, then JD Vance steps in, and like Caroline Levitt, he will lie with no remorse whatsoever. And when reporters call him on it, he just kind of has his way of pivoting past it, and they let him go because whatever, they run out of time. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. So yeah, I do have a clip of Caroline Levitt telling a legendary lie to start off her tenure. And let's see if I can. Let me share this with you.
Miller.
Thanks, Caroline. A question that we've asked your predecessors of both parties in this job. When you're up here in this briefing room speaking to the American public, do you view yourself and your role as speaking on, advocating on behalf of the president, or providing the unvarnished truth that is, not to lie, not to obfuscate to the American people?
I commit to telling the truth from this podium every single day. I commit to speaking on behalf of the President of the United States. That is my job. And I will say it's very easy to speak truth from this podium when you have a president who is implementing policies that are wildly popular with the American people. And that's exactly what this administration is doing. It's correcting the lies and the wrongs of the past 4 years, many of the lies that have been told to your faces in this very briefing room. I will not do that. But since you brought up Truth Seek, I would like to point out, while I vowed to provide the truth from this podium, we ask that all of you in this room hold yourselves to that same standard. We know for a fact there have been lies that have been pushed by many legacy media outlets in this country about this president, about his family, and we will not accept that. We will call you out when we feel that your reporting is wrong or there is misinformation about this White House. So yes, I will hold myself to the truth, and I expect everyone in this room to do the same.
And Caroline, just
Okay, so prepare yourselves, folks. Prepare yourselves for an onslaught of lies from this administration, but from the face of the administration, excuse me, Caroline Levitt. And here's what I'm telling you. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Donald Trump put an emphasis, a priority on communicators that are TV friendly. That's why he pushed so hard to have Pete Hegseth, the drunken, woman abusing clown, really party clown, because he's a former Fox guy, because he's handsome, so like he's camera friendly, and he has no problem lying. He can do that with no conscience to bother him whatsoever. And the same thing goes with Caroline Levitt. See, with Kayleigh McEnany, that was his last press secretary. She, at least, you could tell when the press was getting to her. And when I say getting to her, I'm saying, occasionally you would have someone like April Ryan would step forward, or Caitlin Collins, those no nonsense reporters who will ask you straight up and look you dead in the face and will follow up on a question if you try to dodge it. Then you could see Kayleigh McEnany getting flustered. She would look into her folder, she would flip pages, you could see her cheeks flush. But this one is like the T1000. This one here has no area lying to us. The deportations have commenced, and they've pretty much gone as expected. There have been some people who have been detained who are American citizens. There are people who have been contained who are here legally. There is even a guy who was who was detained, who served with the United States military. Of course, he's an American citizen. And then there have been some folks who have been detained who are the spouses, of Trump supporters. Now, isn't that shocking? That's kind of surprising, because I would have thought that, they would have been spared, right? That's why these Trump supporters voted for Trump, right? Because they wanted him to do mass deportations. That's what they wanted. So why, if you're a Trump supporter and you have someone who is not necessarily here legally, why would you be shocked? And I'm not happy about this. Let's be clear. I'm not happy about it, right? But I'm less sad when it happens to one of you jackasses who voted for this. I'm less sad that the leopard is eating your face when you thought the leopard was only going to eat the faces of, those liberals you can't stand.
They turned off the cameras, excuse my language, and then they took my wife.
This man, who wished not to be identified, says his wife is from Venezuela and has lived in the United States for a few years. She was one of 3 people taken from this home. I'm told the 2 others were men who worked in construction. You see them here. This video, only 1 minute and 52 seconds long, we do not see his wife being removed from the home. But this is a picture of her that he keeps in his wallet. Her name is Vianis Ramirez, and he says she was in the process of becoming a United States citizen.
She already had a court date. She was good. Everything's good. He just came and they snatched her.
These are pictures from the Department of Homeland Security detaining other undocumented men and women in Broward County.
It's despicable what they're doing right now. It's very embarrassing.
President Donald Trump arrived at his Trump National Golf Resort in Doral Saturday, set to host GOP leaders for a conference. This man hopes this message makes it to him.
I get a chance to talk to you, man. Yo, please, man, let's work something out. So you, man, let me keep my wife here in the United States, man. She deserves to be here, man.
ICE reports nearly 1,000 raids in the country on Sunday alone, which is up from just under 300.
Folks, I'm sorry. You see me laughing, and it does appear that I am laughing, but I'm not laughing at this guy's dilemma. I'm laughing at his little tiny, that little picture, that little wallet-sized picture. It's like we warned you. We warned you, and you voted for this. And that's not going to be the last one. Come on, President Trump. Fuck that. That's the bed you made. And there's For each one of them, there's going to be hundreds, maybe thousands of other people who didn't vote for this. Let's be clear. I'm not laughing at the general situation where all these people are going to be deported. I'm laughing at the irony that this dude voted for other people to suffer. Right? It's like taking it's like setting a landmine, putting a landmine in your own lawn, right? Because you want to blow up, I don't know, squirrels or some kind of critters. And then you go and you walk on that landmine your damn self. That. Reap what you sow. Thank you, teacher Lori G. Thank you for that. Yeah, you reap. It is in the Bible. Yeah. Okay. So that was there's going to be a whole lot more of those MAGA regrets videos coming out in the next weeks and months. And one of the other regrets is that egg prices are at $7.05 right now, as a national average. I'm sure it's higher in some areas. I've seen pictures where it's as high as $9, which is why. And that's not even, they're still going to continue to climb. And the report is that egg prices are expected to remain high for the rest of the year. And again, I will be reminding MAGA on a regular basis that you fuckers voted for this. You voted for this. You voted for the ultimate cruelty, right? You voted to separate families, to like deport mom or deport dad or granny or auntie and leave the kids behind. No, we can't break up the families. Oh, okay, so deport the kids too. You voted for that shit. You voted for it because you're like, you know what? It sucks, but at least we're doing it because it's going to bring our prices down. But guess what? Not only is he not going to bring your prices down, your prices as of tomorrow on many things aside from eggs are going to go up. They're going to go way up because, as Caroline Levitt reminded us earlier today, his tariffs against Canada and Mexico are going into effect tomorrow. And let us not forget China, also known as China. China also going up tomorrow, 10%. 10% tariffs on China, 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico. What does that mean to China, Canada, and Mexico? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Why? Because we, the consumers, pay. We can't seem to get it through Donald Trump's thick skull that the country does not pay these tariffs, the consumer does. I don't see why it's so difficult to comprehend and why it's so difficult to spread this truth. Part of the reason, I suppose, is that Fox News is not cooperating. They are not assisting with the information, with the dissemination of information. Ay. Oh yeah, and then there was a federal funding freeze put out this week, or at least he attempted to do this with an executive order, which was going to block funding on everything from Medicaid to Meals on Wheels, for senior citizens, to services for our veterans, like the suicide hotline. Suicide is like a serious issue with our veterans. They've been through a lot. They've got the PTSD and they've seen a lot, and they need services like that. Federal loans and grants, everything shut down. But a federal judge stepped up and said, cut that shit out. Cut that shit out. So there's a pause on that, but it still doesn't mean that the threat is gone. None of us can afford to sit back on our laurels and oh, look at this. Let me just read this from Val Bowen. Says, and eggs have salamina in them, as they cannot be pasteurized. Good luck, America. I cannot confirm that. I don't know anything about it, but it looked like some interesting information. You seem to like know what you're talking about. Forgive me if that is not correct, but if it is correct, that's some interesting information to have up there. Yeah. So that federal freeze, we cannot afford to sleep on any of these things. This is an assault on America, not just the woke. Huh? You think if there's a federal funding that gets blocked that feeds your granny who happens to be MAGA, who voted for Trump, you think they're going to be they're going to be excused? No, I've seen plenty of videos of women who have voted for Trump who are crying on the video, saying they're crying because the SNAP is the welfare thing. It's like I think the SNAP is what enables a lot of people on welfare to buy food for their children, for their babies. They don't care if you're a Trump supporter or you're a liberal. God. So these House hearings to confirm Trump's nominees are a joke. They're an absolute joke. Most of the nominees, I would say 90 to 95% of them have no business even being there. They're not qualified for the job. RFK Jr., where do I start? Do I start with the fact that he's an anti-vaxxer, that he has some crazy beliefs about raw milk and vaccines, that he believes that Black people should not receive the same vaccine as white people? I'm not making this up, people. He admits it. Here, let me wait. Let me just find that thing real quick. Excuse me. He got grilled on that by Senator Also Brooks. Wait. Let's do this here. Share screen. Yeah, let's do this.
You said the following, and I quote, "We should not be giving Black people the same vaccine schedule that's given to whites because their immune system is better than ours." Can you please explain what you meant?
There's a series of studies, I think most of them by Poland, that show that to particular antigens,
Cheryl there in the corner.
Blacks have a much stronger reaction. There's differences in reaction to different products by different races.
So I have 17 seconds left. Let me just ask you then. So what different vaccine schedule would you say I should have received? What different vaccine schedule should I have received?
I mean, the Poland article suggests that Blacks need fewer antigens.
This is so dangerous.
You get the same measles vaccine.
Mr. Kennedy, with all due respect, that is so dangerous. Your voice would be a voice that parents would listen to. That is so dangerous. I will be voting against your nomination because your views are dangerous to our state and to our country.
Thank you, Senator Also Brooks. I actually can appreciate the fact that that there are at least some senators out there who are attempting to hold the fucking line. Right? I don't go for this kumbaya shit. There's no I don't have one iota of give them the benefit of the doubt in my body. Not one of them. Not one of them. When you ask them, for instance, like when Kash Patel was asked the other day that qualifying question, who won the 2020 election? And his answer is Joe Biden was certified. But who won the 2020? They can't bring themselves to admit that President Biden won the 2020 election. That's bizarre to me. The grown folk are holding on to this for one reason and one reason only. Because if they admit in public that Joe Biden won the 2020 election, they will be shut out. They will be shut out of that inner circle because the emperor with no clothes doesn't want to know that he has no clothes. It's crazy. It's insane. But what I want to see more of is I want to see more of this kind of energy. Here. Where is it?
Let's do a quick count here of how, as Secretary of HHS, if you get confirmed, you can influence every one of those lawsuits. Well, let me start the list. You could publish your anti-vaccine conspiracies, but this time on U.S. government letterhead, something a jury might be impressed by. You could appoint
I don't
people to the
understand that.
CDC vaccine panel who share your anti-vax views and let them do your dirty work. You could tell the CDC vaccine panel to remove a particular vaccine from the vaccine schedule. You could remove vaccines from special compensation programs, which would open up manufacturers to mass torts. You could make more injuries eligible for compensation, even if there is no causal evidence. You could change vaccine court processes to make it easier to bring junk lawsuits. You could turn over FDA data to your friends at the law firm, and they could use it however it benefited them. You could change vaccine labeling. You could change vaccine information rules. You could change which claims are compensated in the vaccine injury compensation program. There's a lot of ways that you can influence those future lawsuits and pending lawsuits while you are Secretary of HHS. And I'm asking you to commit right now that you will not take a financial stake in every one of those lawsuits so that what you do as Secretary will also benefit you financially down the line.
I'll comply with all the ethical guidelines.
That's not the question. You and I, you have said.
You're asking me, Senator, you're asking me not to serve vaccine pharmaceutical companies. Yeah, you are. That's exactly what you're doing.
Now, look, no one should be fooled here. As Secretary of HHS, Robert Kennedy will have the power to undercut vaccines and vaccine manufacturing across our country. And for all of his talk about follow the science and his promise that he won't interfere with those of us who want a vaccine.
That's what I want to see more of. I want to see more of I'm not taking no shit from you fuckers. That's what I want to see. I want to see, peel the fucking paint off of these jackasses. Expose them for their lies and for their hypocrisy and their inconsistencies. Expose them and bring that fire, bring that heat, because that's what we need now. And every day between now and the next fucking election. Act like this democracy, this republic or whatever, act like it matters. Act like it means something. Act like you are fighting for us. Act like it. More news. Top FBI officials have been told to resign or be fired. Now, this happened last night. about 24 hours after a major event that will require a lot of investigators. Wonder why that's happening. That's bizarre, folks. That is really bizarre. And let me just point out that that on January 9th, Elon Musk posted a tweet. And actually, now I got to see if I can find that tweet. I think I can. It's on my profile there. He posted a tweet where he said, oh, here it is. Here it is. Let me share this with you. Elon Musk posted this tweet where it says, this is January 9th. Okay. This is a full 20 days before this terrible accident. It will take an airplane crashing and killing hundreds of people for them to change this crazy policy of, he writes, DIE. You know, he's not dyslexic. He did that intentionally as a slam on DEI. I'll read that to you again. It will take an airplane crashing and killing hundreds of people for them to change this crazy policy of DEI. But you find that just slightly interesting? Look, you guys know, I've told you already, this is not news, that I am a closet conspiracy theorist. I am. I admit. I'm not ashamed of it. There are things that tickle the back of my head when things don't add up. I'm looking to make sense of things. Like most of us, when things look weird, you want to say 1 + 1 + 1 is 3, right? And sometimes you look at things like this, this tweet that Elon Musk posted 20 days ago. And then you see this incident that happened, this tragic incident in Washington, D.C., where there was a commercial airline and there was a Black Hawk helicopter. A Black Hawk helicopter, that's the upper echelon of our aircraft, right? They're not just putting any knucklehead who just slid into the Air Force or into the military. They're not just putting any old person in a Black Hawk helicopter. They're not. You got to be trained for that shit. And to be in our federal airspace, to be flying in Washington, D.C., that is the most tightly locked down airspace in the entire nation. They were in that airspace. It looks weird to me, is all I'm saying. I promise you, I'm not going down any rabbit hole on this. I'm not going to lose sleep over this. I'm just saying it's weird. It's weird that helicopter just happened to be in the flight path of that airplane. I don't think it has anything to do with the air traffic controller, although there were fewer air traffic controllers available than usual that particular night. In fact, at least one air traffic controller was told they can take off that night. That left them short-handed, not ideal. Where am I getting this from? The news. I'm getting this from the news, I'm not making this up, I promise you. So I'm saying it looks strange to me. It looks very strange. It looks orchestrated. Let's put it even further. Donald Trump, on the night of the crash, and first of all, the crash, we lost 67 lives. I believe 3 of which were on the helicopter and the other 64 were on the airline. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. And this shouldn't be a political issue, okay? This shouldn't be a partisan issue. We should want to get to the bottom of what actually happened, to get to the truth. Because at the end of the day, look, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or you're unaffiliated with any party, you want to be able to fly and feel safe. You don't want to think that your safety is now being played with for partisan purposes. But now, in fact, it does feel like that. It does feel like that. It feels like Elon Musk has some kind of agenda. Let me go back to that tweet, actually, because that was an important tweet on the Really American account. Oh, wait. Cancel. I closed that. Let me open that again. Give me a second here. Okay. Let me read this to you guys. The Trump administration mass emailed FAA employees telling them to resign or be fired just 24 hours after a fatal crash that killed 67 people, even as we learned there are massive staff shortages, according to a New York Times report. Additionally, there is currently no FAA director, as he was pressured to resign by Elon Musk, the person who authored this tweet saying nothing short of a plane crash would end DEI policies. Concerning. Those of you who follow Elon Musk's tweets, I do not, but every once in a while, I come across them. He often writes concerning, just that, trying to be cheeky or whatever. So, yeah, concerning indeed. This looks suspicious. And then yesterday, Donald Trump had his press briefing to address the nation about the plane crash. So when I heard this was happening, I had very little short advance notice. I heard about it maybe 10 or 15 minutes before it happened. They said he was going to address the nation. And I had the lowest of low expectations for his speech. Low expectations. In fact, I don't know why I was so shocked. Well, I'll tell you why I was shocked. I was shocked for several reasons. Reason number one is that for the very first 2 minutes of his press briefing, he sounded normal. He had a somber tone. He, had a moment of silence. He addressed the families, that were suffering and nothing. I mean, I was stunned. I was literally stunned. I was like, what the fuck is happening? In fact, here, let me, in case you missed it, let me share with you why I was so stunned.
Now we mourn and we pray and would like to ask all Americans to join me in a moment of silence as we ask God to watch over those who have lost their lives and bring comfort to the loved ones. And I just want to say God bless everyone in this room. This has been a terrible, very short period of time. We'll get to the bottom of it. Now we mourn and we.
You see, nothing, nothing controversial there. Just, Marie from New Jersey says, when he tilts his head like a dog. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to 2 or 4 years of him doing that twisty thing on the podium that he does when he's reading remarks. But then he took like a sharp right turn into like blaming President Obama and President Biden and DEI policies. And so I was watching it here in this room. This room is not close to the kitchen, right? Where wifey, not even the kitchen, the dining room. Wifey was in the dining room, and I'm far. I'm like a good 30 yards away from the dining room, and I said out loud, I was like, what the fuck? And wifey heard me. Yeah, I'm gonna play that what the fuck moment for you because I was aghast. Even though I don't know why I'm ever still surprised by anything out of this motherfucker's mouth. Um, this caught me off guard for some reason. Here.
Pouring into our country, pouring into a little spot, a little dot on the map, a little runway. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan. Think of that. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan, which says diversity is integral to achieving FAA's mission of ensuring safe and efficient travel. I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite. The FAA website shows that the agency's guidance on diversity hiring were last updated on March 23rd of 22. They wanted to make it even more so. And then I came in, and I assume maybe this is the reason. The FAA, which is overseen by Secretary Pete Buttigieg, a real winner. That guy's a real winner. Do you know how badly everything's run since he's run this Department of Transportation? He's a disaster. He was a disaster as a mayor. He ran his city into the ground, and he's a disaster now. He's just got a good line of bullshit. The Department of Transportation is.
So, it was completely unnecessary. It was completely unnecessary for him to say bullshit there. That was not necessary at all. I think that might have been scripted, actually. Throw some bullshit in there. Throw the press into a tizzy. But actually that was jarring, but not as jarring as like the rest of his speech, which, he attacked Pete Buttigieg. And as far as Pete Buttigieg being qualified, Pete Buttigieg is more qualified than 99% of Donald Trump's administration and his nominees. Easily. He's a Rhodes Scholar. He's fucking brilliant. A brilliant dude. But his subsequent attack on people of color, people with disabilities, as being inferior, and he did manage to pepper in there the word superior multiple times and talked about excellent hiring practices, and just there was so much garbage and bullshit in there. I was like, what the fuck am I listening to? What's happening? He is on one side of his mouth saying that it is still safe to fly, but on the other side of his mouth, he's saying that an undeterminate number of DEI hires are making us less safe. How many is that? 6%? Like there's 94% are white pilots, which, by the way, I think, at least one of those pilots from this incident was white. So there's 6% left. So that's 6%. How many is that? Is that like, I don't know, 20,000, 50,000 flights a day? How many? How many of us are in mortal danger from people hired through DEI policies? What does it even mean to be hired through DEI policies? Why haven't we had enough conversation to clear the fucking air about what DEI means and why everybody's hair is on fire worried about DEI. Because if anybody had an intelligent, accurate discussion over what DEI means, they would learn it doesn't mean that you take somebody who's less qualified and you put them in there because black. No. It means that previously the doors were shut to people of color who are as qualified or more qualified than straight white candidates. That's it. That's it. Doors previously closed, DEI opens those doors. It's not a cheat sheet. It's not an unfair advantage. It just says that previously you didn't have even a shot at this job. We weren't even considering you because we weren't even we weren't acknowledging your existence. You were not in our pool of candidates. That shit was closed to you like a country club to most black people. So this is where we are, folks. The term DEI has been weaponized to mean inferior. It's being weaponized to mean, people who are not qualified for the job were given the job over you, my white friend. That's what DEI is meant to be. Simple as that. Simple as that. And I found a meme that actually speaks directly to that thing. And let's see if I can pull it up here. Boom. Yeah. How to hide your racism by calling them DEI instead of using the N-word. A child's guide to Trumpism. It's it right there in a nutshell. And I went into this in some depth in which one was it? Oh, my post from today, my Substack post from today, which is titled "The Bullshit Divider in Chief." Yeah, so I highly recommend you check it out. It is free, as I said. That post you can read it for free, and it's quite it's something. It's something. I stayed up until 4:00 in the morning finishing it, so it's something. So folks, yeah, that's where we're at right now. We are in an existential battle for the soul of our country. It's that simple. And there's more. There's more to it. It's not just the soul of our country. It's not just about, culture wars and, DEI. Frankly, I think the term DEI now has outlived its usefulness because we, as I'm collectively saying, we people, liberals, Democrats, people on the left, whatever, have allowed that term, that phrase to be hijacked and weaponized against us. So it's not useful anymore. We didn't have enough people out there defining it, fighting against the reframing of it by guys like this guy, Christopher Rufo. Look his name up. Christopher Rufo, notorious. Anything good that we come up with, he will weaponize it and make it seem like, turn it into pedophilia or, child sex trafficking, stuff like that. Claudia points out that the price of gas is going up. I can't help but watch what's happening right now and feel like some of it is meant to distract from other things. What are we being asked to take our eyes off of? Is it they want us to ignore the confirmation hearings? Do they want us to ignore the fact that Elon Musk was trying to gain access to Social Security funds? I saw that news today. There's a lot of there's a lot of crazy shit going on. And this is part of Project 2025. I forget how Steve Bannon had characterized this. Like it's something to the equivalent of throw everything out there all at once or something, chaos theory, because if we're all busy focusing on the most outrageous shit, so what are we outraged about? About racism. And they know that. They know if all they have to do is say something racist, and we'll follow that bouncing ball like well-trained, seals. So while we're distracted by following that bouncing ball, our eyes and attention are being taken off of what the real package is, the real prize is, which is usually some kind of financial bullshit that is allowing billionaires to become richer. So stay frosty, folks. Keep your eyes open. Don't play nice. And talk to your members of Congress. Ask them to stop fucking playing nice. No more votes. I saw some unnecessary votes for was it Pete Hegseth or some of the other nominees. I guess, if push came to shove, I think Marco Rubio is probably the only Trump nominee that I'm not a fan of Rubio's, but as far as I'm not worried about him embarrassing the United States. I'm not. He's kind of okay as far as Republicans go. He's not like batshit nuts, I don't think. But aside from that, all the rest of these fuckers are. None of us, not one person, not a John Fetterman. I don't care how badly you want some of those right-wing votes, John Fetterman, fuck that shit. We put you in office, we'll kick you the fuck out. Call your senators, call your members of Congress, let them know. Do not obey in advance. Those people who are being asked, those FBI officials being asked to resign or be fired, stay. Make them fire you. Let it be on the record that you were fired for no cause. Yeah. And I don't know, folks. That's all I have to say about that. Joanne Kennedy says Fetterman is a MAGA now. I want to remind you guys, if you missed that part of the show where I was asking you to please opine on which new name of the show I should go with, let me just put it back up here. Excuse me. So these are possible new names. And so instead of Storytime with BDD, it might be one of these things now. Brooklyn Dad Defiant, The Weekly Take. I'll probably just call it The Weekly Take. But no, it's separated from Brooklyn Dad Defiant. BDD Live, Politics Unfiltered. I'm leaning towards that one. The Defiant Hour. That's also kind of nice. I like the Defiant Hour. Breaking down the week in politics, but it's so long. I don't like the length. Weekly political roundup with BDD. BDD's Political Pulse. So leave your preference in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Then I got to focus on like a logo, and maybe I'll just stick with the logo as is. But, all things considered, this is the direction I'm looking to take the show in. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. And you guys, whatever it is that I end up naming this show, it's irrelevant. It's me. It's BDD. It's always going to be me, and I'm always going to bring you what I believe, and I'm going to double check my facts as always, as I do with my tweets, as I do with my Blue Sky posts and my Substack articles. All that stuff is as verified as I possibly can make it. And, we are going to get through this together. We got through this past 4 years together. We're going to get through the next 4 years together. So with that said, I look forward to seeing you all here next week. Same time, same place. I love you all. Peace.